Longplay 4K Review, You're Empty. A small bomb exploded at the game exhibition CRI 2003. Developers from Digital Spray Studios showed another made-in-sys shooter for the first time. But if they were second-rate trash, hardly anyone would have noticed You're Empty. Modern at that time graphics perfectly combined with the original setting. Just imagine. USSR. A seemingly ordinary city. A failed experiment. Chaos, fear, death. Zombie pioneers, embittered steel workers, huge sportsmen, the size of a good Jeep, and crazy grandfathers armed, of course, with a good old double-barreled shotgun. In general, what we saw made an indelible impression on journalists and ordinary mortals. However, the developers couldn't decide about the gameplay mechanics, but the engine was very good. Time passed, the world saw Half-Life 2, Doom 3, Chronicles of Riddick. FAR, after all, and Digital Spray Studios continued to work on its hit. And this fall 1C rolled out You're Empty without too much pathos and advertising fairy tales. Welcome to the Soviet Union. Scientists cry too. It's the 1950s. The life of an ordinary Soviet town turns into a real hell. After a series of unexplained events, almost all the inhabitants turn into terrible mutants. Your character, by chance, saved from the devastating changes and intends to understand the ongoing turmoil. The city is swarming with furious citizens, for whom the main goal in life, after the construction of communism, became annihilation of everything and everything, so the way to the truth runs through the mountains of corpses. Of course, then it will turn out that the cause of the general mutation was Soviet scientists. They only wanted to make their compatriots stronger, smarter, faster, and thus advance the cause of world communism far ahead, but the experiment failed. The details of what happened will have to be learned by finding leaflets and notes. Who said Doom 3, for normal characters and video inserts are not often found. An interesting plot is killed by weak execution. Don't expect interesting dialogues and colorful characters, there is no such thing here. The way through the whole city is dangerous, so let's move on to the description of the arsenal. Here the designer's imagination is not very fancy. Along with the standard PPS, double barrel and Mauser, our nameless hero uses a construction nail gun and an electric gun to destroy his comrades. Entertaining, but wanting more. The expected atmosphere of fear and horror is not present at all, but during the passage of the player does not leave the thought that here it is, the virtual USSR. There are propaganda posters hanging on the walls. The next message about the greatness of the Communist Party comes from the speaker with a wheeze, and even the game console, press is proudly named console named after the workers' and peasants' Red Army. Metro 2 was not even close. Gameplay of You're Empty is a standard running back and forth with shootouts. But the developers didn't try to make a hurricane action a la Painkiller and Serious Sam, they, on the contrary, tried to scare the player. As a result, boring battles, not especially strong protagonist, lack of any dynamics and tired bearded gameplay. There is no variety in the gameplay, even virtual shooting gallery was not introduced in You're Empty. There are no so-called ways to cook monsters. Here you don't need to be sophisticated with the choice of certain ammunition for each enemy, the main thing is to drive more red-hot lead into your zombie comrade. Boring, in a word. Are you empty? Graphics engine, as it is not a shame, for more than 2 years has managed to become seriously outdated. The barrels lack normal textures, special effects are average, animation is nightmarish. However, despite the rather low quality, the local monsters look at least original. Zobmy the nurse, a huge chicken named after Lenin Komsomol, a mad fireman with an axe, there is a variation with a flamethrower, Pavlov's dog, you can't list everything. Our choice, of course, belongs to the flying electrician. The Soviet answer to Carlson circles above you like a dragonfly and, having landed, tries to knock out more life, flying upwards at the first attempts to point a gun at the beast. It's a pity that the stupefied pioneers never lived to see the final version. In addition to the design of the local zoo, the game pleases with excellent open locations. The architecture of the Stalin era is perfectly transferred to the game. The only thing worse than the story in You Are Empty is probably the sound. Let me specify, the sound is just awful. The first time I heard the scream of a mutated hospital patient, I almost died in a fit of laughter. After all, it was exactly the same sounds emitted by a drunken electrician, who tried not so long ago to fix the wiring in the house where the author lives. The voicing of other monsters is also not distinguished by special quality. Music is practically absent, which is very bad for the attempt to create some kind of fearful atmosphere. Tense compositions playing in the background would have been just right. The tracks that are available do not evoke positive emotions. Among other things, Digital Spray Studios' creation is full of various bugs and errors. Due to the underdeveloped physics in the game, there are often objects hanging in the air. You can't be surprised if when loading the next level or saving You Are Empty, it snapped with incomprehensible inscriptions and sent you on a pedestrian journey to the desktop. Well, and the most fun happened when in one of the engine scenes the character shot himself from his finger. To be more precise, at the moment of firing the gun in his hand was not found. Final comments. If you take a great idea, add average graphics to it, and then screw it all up with a cheesy script and a nightmarish soundtrack, we get You Are Empty. The creation of Digital Spray Studios and Mandalore Plains really stands out against the background of domestic competitors with its extraordinary setting, but not more than that. Apparently, even Western B-class shooters, Star Wars Republic Commando, for example, will be an unattainable peak of skill for our developers for a long time to come. We are waiting for STALKER. Gameplay, running, shooting, looking for keys, switching levers, old as the world and insanely boring. There are no dynamics, as well as frightening atmosphere. Graphics, outdated graphics engine sometimes produces a good picture. Sound, terrible. How long will it last? Even the most hardcore perverts are unlikely to want to play You Are Empty a second time.